welcome to the one and only lesson for today. First off, if you're watching this video, you're being an awesome student and you're already doing great. So let's get started, guys. We're going to be talking about midpoint today. But when we talk about midpoint, what we actually really need to do to understand how to deal with this and figure out what is the midpoint between 2 points, we are going to need to go back in time. I know that's not the theme for Doctor Who, but let's go back in time. Do you guys remember maybe in elementary school or middle school where you had to find the average of numbers? And to find the average, you had to add them up, get the total amount, and then divide by how many numbers there were. So if there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, we would take 50, divide by 5, and the average of all of these is 10. Well, if you remember that and you thought that was easy, I have good news for you. The midpoint is going to be easy because all the midpoint is taking the average of the x's and the y's. So why don't we take a look at an example of that? Here's an example of this right here, and you can probably already tell where the point should be in the middle to be the midpoint. But let's go ahead and find the averages of, well, let's see, here's the first point, -5, -5. Always figure out what the points are, by the way, -5, -5. And the other endpoint is -1, -1. So to find the midpoint between these 2 points on this line, we're going to take the averages of the x's. So the first x is -5 and the other x is -1. -5 plus -1 is -6. And then there's only 2 points, right? We only find the midpoint of 2 points. So we just do -6 divided by 2, and that equals -3. Now, luckily, when we find the average of the y's, it's going to be the same thing, right? Because the y's and the x's are the same and for this problem. So -5 plus -1 is -6. And then we take -6 divided by 2 and get -3. But our answer, right, is the combination of what we did here, up here and down here, the -3 here and -3 here. So the answer is actually the midpoint at -3, -3. Now, if I was going to graph that on this graph, take a look where it is. Right here, right there. Now, I want to point out to you guys, it's a bit strange, but there is a formula for this. Now, first off, before I give you the formula, if understanding it how we did here on the left for find the averages, if that's how you want to do these problems, that'd be completely acceptable and that's okay. But the formula is right here. And all it is, right, is we add the 2 x's, x2, x1, the -5, -1, divided by 2, which is what we did up here. And then for the y's, it's y2 plus y1, and divided by 2, and that's what we did for the second part. And that's how you find the midpoint. Now I'm going to give you one more example using the formula in case you want to use the formula. But remember, you can always keep it simple and do what we just did here originally. Here's a bit more difficult problem for finding the midpoint. Remember, the first thing you want to do, though, is always mark down what the points are. So this first point is -4 and -1 right here. And on the right side, it's 5, 3. So once we have our 2 points, now we can use our midpoint formula and slowly submit what x2 and x1 are. So here's our formula. The first x value is -4, and the second x value for the second point is 5. And then for the y values, the first y value, our y2, we just say it's y2 right here, is -1, and the second one's going to be 3. It doesn't really matter which one you choose to be y2 and which one to be y1, guys. It'll still work out. So now we just to simplify this. Deal with the top parts, -4 plus 5. That ends up being 1, right? So the first part is 1 over 2. And -1 plus 3 is 2. So that's going to be 2 over 2. 1 over 2, we can't really simplify that, right? We can leave it as it is. But 2 over 2, that can be simplified. 2 divided by 2, that can be simplified as 1. So here we have our point right here. And we're effectively done. But if you want to check your work, you just take our point. And we can graph it. And look at that. It's right in between these 2 points. Smack dab in the middle. And that's just going to be our second example for how to find the midpoint. If you have any questions, feel free to stop by during office hours or wait for class. Otherwise, you guys have a good day. Bye.